Now, if you'll bear with me, I want to really emphasize this point. The crew here has tried to teach me how to use this contraption here, so if I don't kill myself, I'll... It's already right here. Look how far above the natural cycle this is, and we've done that. But ladies and gentlemen, in the next 50 years, really in less than 50 years, it's going to continue to go up. When some of these children who are here are my age, here's what it's going to be in less than 50 years. You've heard of off the charts. Within less than 50 years, it'll be here. There's not a single fact or date or number that's been used to make this up that's in any controversy. The so-called skeptics look at this and they say, so? That seems perfectly okay. Well, again, if on the temperature side, if this much on the cold side is a mile of ice over our heads, what would that much on the warm side be? Ultimately, this is really not a political issue so much as a moral issue.
I'm told we're destroying the earth, burning gas, oil, and coal, and we burn more than other countries. The National Audubon Society says there is no greater threat to our environment. But my next guest, scientific journalist Matt Ridley, says the opposite is true. Matt, how can that be the case?
Well, if you think about it, when we're burning fossil fuels, it means we're not burning something else. We're not cutting down forests and so on. And the more we burn fossil fuels, the more we can produce fertilizer. And that means we use less land to grow our food, so we can spare land for forests. So there's actually a net forest increase in a lot of the world, particularly America. But over and above that, there's a fascinating new discovery, which is that the world as a whole is getting greener. Places like the Amazon rainforest are actually getting greener, and the reason is partly because we're putting more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and that makes plants grow faster.
All right, so let's break that down. In general, there is less farmland and more land returned to forest because we burn oil, coal instead of trees.
New England used to be 70% farmland. It's now 70% forest. Countries like Bangladesh are growing more forest. There's a new satellite which measures the greening of the earth, and it's finding that about 20% of the earth is getting greener and 3% is getting browner, and about half of that effect is coming from the carbon dioxide that we're putting into the air from burning fossil fuels. So literally, the burning of fossil fuels is helping the rainforest in the Amazon to grow. Now, you know, that's a very unwelcome message for the environmental movement. It just happens to be true. There's a very nice example of this, which is the border between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic is pretty green. Haiti is very brown. Haiti is almost totally deforested. The reason is because they use
charcoal. You can even see a clear line between the two countries just looking from the satellites.
Yeah,
one's green,
you
one's
can see
brown.
it on a satellite. You can see it in an aerial photograph. And the reason is because Haiti relies on wood for not only domestic fuel, but for industrial fuel too, whereas the Dominican Republic uses fossil fuels, and it actually subsidizes the use of propane as a cooking fuel so that people won't go out into the forest and cut down trees to make charcoal to cook over. So there's a very clear example of how the use of fossil fuels is actually good for the environment.
And the propane comes from the natural gas, which we're discovering much more of. Of course, it would be better in terms of global warming, if it really is a threat, if we could burn less oil and use more wind power or solar power, perhaps. But it's such a joke when you look at our current energy use. We have a graph of that. I don't think people know that 3/4 of our energy comes from those horrible fossil fuels. Nuclear is 10%. Wind and solar are a tiny fraction. I left out hydropower, which is one of the best. But we're nowhere close to getting rid of fossil fuels.
That's right. And I mean, wind is just an irrelevance in this argument. People go on about how it saves the planet. Actually, it needs a huge amount of landscape. Even if we carpeted the whole of Australia with wind turbines, we still wouldn't be able to make much of a difference. So a lot of these renewables are really not making a dent in the problem.
The public doesn't buy this at all. How come?
Well, we've spent so long demonizing fossil fuels over the last few decades that no wonder people think that they're the root of all evil.